Whoever said there's no such thing as a perfect sequel needs to read Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. Robin Hobb is quickly becoming a favorite author of mine, and I feel a little weird saying that because this is only the second book I've ever read by her, but holy crap, is the Farseer trilogy just roaring for me. Not too long ago, I read Assassin's Apprentice, the first book in the Farseer trilogy, and I very much enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I loved Robin Hobb's prose style and how beautiful that it was. I love the way that she was developing these characters in really believable and human and heartfelt ways. And I enjoyed the slower pacing, though at times I thought it was a little bit jarring. Royal Assassin takes everything good about the first book and ramps it up, and the awkward things that I mentioned in the first one, didn't notice them at all. You don't have to worry, I'm going to keep this spoiler free even if you haven't read the first book, but I just need to talk about how good Royal Assassin is. So, in case it's been a while since you read the first book, a lot of times us readers like to read the beginning of a series and we don't always continue on right away. In case it's been a minute since you read Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin starts off with a very, very beautiful recap of the first one. The events of the first one are retold in a way that just shows that Robin Hobb stepped up her already beautiful prose game that she had in Assassin's Apprentice for Royal Assassin. It just hits with a bang, and you're also reminded, oh yeah, Hobb's a savage. She's very mean to her characters. Unlike the first book, where it took a little bit to get going and we had to be introduced to all of the characters, this book we already have the world fleshed out, we already have the characters fleshed out, and we already know the state of the political situation at the end of book 1. Like I said, it's recapped for you in the prologue if you forgot. And so it just starts off moving. And this book, while I'm not going to say that it's like a super fast-paced book, like a Words of Radiance or a Rage of Dragons or something, this book is faster paced than the first one in a super positive way. It still is a more contemplative pace than many of those other books, but I don't feel like any section of Royal Assassin drags at all. We start off right away with just a brutal event, which, like, hey, trigger warning for extreme war violence. And then at no point in this story do we ever actually hit an equilibrium where everything is completely okay again. Things are constantly being juggled up in the air, and Fitz, our main character, is at the center of it all. We get to see more about the magic, we get to see more about the politics, we get to see more scheming, more preventing of scheming. We get oh so much rich and beautiful character development from like all of the characters, even characters that we kind of thought may have been side characters are now main characters, and we get to see just how human and fallible all of this kingdom truly is. Because man, is it rough. We start to see characters that we can fully comprehend the motivations of, like characters that we love, that end up on different sides of issues, and they are butting heads, or they are just completely missing each other communication-wise, and it's rough to read, but it's the most realistic depiction of like humanity and human interactions and the missed connections, like missed communication opportunities and misunderstandings that I've like ever seen. And Hobb does such a good job explaining like with this person's cultural background and the way they feel about this, and with the experiences that this person has been through, and with the ways that this person has been burned before, this is how they might approach the situation, but this person is approaching the situation with their own historical background. And oh, it's just Hobb's ability to transcend different human experiences is just on full display here. We have themes of like love and loss and loyalty and duty and honor, and they're all being explored from so many different angles, while at the same time there's this like greater set of conflicts going on both within and without the like castle that the main story takes place in. The magic is both like incredibly important to the story and also like not beating you over the head. Like I recently mentioned in my Mistborn review that like, hey, Brandon Sanderson really wants to make sure you understand his magic system. The magic system in this book is just as important as a magic system in a book like a super hard magic system. However, it is so well woven into the tapestry of the story. It's just freaking next level. Just like everything in this book is a step up from what it was before, with no real discernible flaws from my personal taste. This book was the Patreon buddy read for my Patreon this month. If you'd like to support me, there's a link to that Patreon down below. But we read Royal Assassin this month, and it was broken up into sections, and I hated ending each section because I was trying to make sure that I didn't get too far ahead of the buddy read that I was hosting. I hated the fact that I couldn't continue, and now that I've finished, I am just desperate to get to the next book. The arc of our main characters and Fitz throughout this book left me so satisfied, so broken, and yet wanting more. Did I mention there's also more action in this book? Because there is. That was one of the things that like maybe was a turnoff for more people about the previous book, was there was very little action or fighting. This book has more of it. Not a ton, but more. You didn't think there was enough magic before? There's more of that. There's more character interactions. There's less what feels like extraneous world building because we already know it. I mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Hobb, I feel like, even just got better at writing between these two books. I think they were published a year apart, and yet I feel like the writing is just another step up with the beauty and the subtlety that's still so powerful. Her foreshadowing, like both direct and indirect, is just a gut punch because you know that bad things are coming. Every time something good happens, you know it's gonna just go wrong somehow. And not always in the way that you think, but it does seem inevitable at this point. At one point, I was driving to work and did break down in a full-on tears out of my eyes ugly cry because I was just gut punched so hard. And the ending of this book left me absolutely just lost. I was speechless. I couldn't say anything because I was so torn up, but it was so well done at the same time. Robin Hobb, you are amazing. In case I sound like I'm just gushing too much, let me break down some of the things that I think that other people may not love about this book. First of all, I said it before, I'll say it again, the pacing may still be too slow for some readers. Second, if you exclusively like straightforward prose, you may not like this one. Thirdly, since this is a sequel, if you didn't like the first one, obviously I don't think you'll like this one. But if you, maybe were on the fence about this one is way better in every way. And yeah, I guess if you're looking for something just happy-go-lucky, this one is not the book for you, obviously. I want to emphasize that just because this book builds on the things that we already established from the first book, it doesn't mean that it also doesn't introduce a lot of new mysteries, because it really does. The edges and more magical elements around the fringes of the first book are both explained and have some questions that are both answered and way more questions asked in a way that definitely satisfied me. But honestly, I'm struggling to come up with much negative because this book it's one of my favorite reads of the year by far. In a year that I read the Stormlight Archive, this book is still competing with favorite book that I read this year. In a year where I discovered and fell in love with Brandon Sanderson, Robin Hobb still might be becoming my favorite author. And speaking of Brandon Sanderson and Robin Hobb, if you think Kaladin goes through a lot, Fitz gets it way worse, my dude. Which, by the way, if you want to join us in my Patreon buddy reads, we're going to be reading Assassin's Quest and The Shining next month. But honestly, I just want to drop all of my current reads and read Assassin's Quest right now, because Royal Assassin was just incredible. Have you read this series? Is this something that you're interested in? I know that there are people out there that love Robin Hobb, but I feel like a lot of my friends have not taken the plunge on her yet, and I want to change that as much as possible. Royal Assassin is an easy 5 out of 5 stars for me, and it's also like the best sequel I may have ever read. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments down below or leave a thumbs up. If you would like to follow my channel in the future, please remember to subscribe while you're on your way down. I have a Discord link down below where you can discuss books with me. That's free and available for everyone. And like I said, if you want to support this channel financially, there's a Patreon link down below and also a link to some dumb t-shirts and mugs that I made. Please, 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 if you're looking for something to read, maybe a palate cleanser, maybe something different to read, go check out Assassin's Apprentice. If you've read Assassin's Apprentice but haven't read Royal Assassin, please do so. It's so worth your time. I love you guys and hope you have an awesome rest of your week. Go be excellent to each other.
No one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep. No one ever get enough. If it don't show up, I might get fired. Sleep. No one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep. No one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired.